Hi, today we're looking at Functional Skills Maths Entry Level 3. This is the Pearson Edexcel exam board. It's paper September 2019 and we're going to start with the non-calculator section. Question 1. Kemar plans a car boot sale. He makes a sign with a word and an arrow. We've got a picture here, the word, the arrow. Kemar says the total length of the word and arrow is less than 1 metre. Is Kemar correct? Show why you think this. Okay, well, they've given us some measurements and they've given them to us in millimetres at the moment. So what we want to do is, well, we need to add these two together, but we also need to convert them so we've got similar units. Well, what I'm going to do, I know that I've got 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to convert these to centimetres, because also I know that 1 metre is equal to 100 centimetres. So if I can put everything in terms of centimetres, it's going to be a lot easier to work with. So if we've got 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre, if we want to turn this into centimetres, we need to divide it by 10. And if we're dividing by 10, we can just take a 0 off the end. So that means that we've got 70 centimetres. And the same with this one. We want to turn it into centimetres, divide by 10. So that means we just take a 0 off the end. So we've got 25 centimetres. So we want the total length of the word and the arrow. So we need the 70 plus the 25. So 0 plus 5 is 5. 7 plus 2, we'll start with 7, 8, 9. So we've got 95 centimetres. Now we've already said that 1 metre is 100 centimetres. Well, 95 centimetres is less than 100 centimetres. So is Kemar correct? Well, he says the total length of the word and arrow. So this number is less than 1 metre, which is this number. So yes, he is correct. And we can put a tick down here. Question 2. Each car driver pays Kemar £8 to go to the car boot sale. There are 72 cars at the car boot sale. How much money in total do the car drivers pay? So 72 cars, each of them paying £8. So that's like 72 plus 72 plus 72 8 times. Or you can think of that as 72 times 8. So if we do that using the column method, we can start off with, well, we want 8 times 2, or 2 times 8. And if you might find it easier to do it with your 2 times table. So say 8 times 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So we put the 6 here and we need to carry the 1. So now we need 7 times 8, or 8 times 7, whichever way you want to do it. I think 8 times table might be easier, so we'll do 7 8s. So we've got 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56. If you need to add on each time, if you're not so good with your times table, that's fine, but we've got 56 plus 1 here makes it 57. So we've got a total of 576, and that's money, that's pounds. They've already given us the pound sign. Question 3. Kemar buys 200 bags for the rubbish at the car boot sale. He shares the bags between 16 helpers. Each helper has the same number of bags. How many bags does each helper have? And show how many bags are left over. Right, so what we're trying to do with this, we've got 200 bags, shares in between 16 helpers. So you could think of this as we sort of want 200 divided by 16. Now that might not be that easy to do. So what we can say instead is, well, let's use some facts that we've got. Well, let's think, what about if they had 10 bags each? Because 10 times table is nice and straightforward. So if we had 16 helpers with 10 bags each, well, multiplying by 10, we just put a 0 on the end. So that would be 160 bags. Okay, right. Now let's see how many bags we've got left over. So we start with 200 bags. We've already allocated 160, so we're going to subtract that. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 6 you can't do. So instead, we can reduce that to 1 and make that 10. So 10 minus 6 is 4. And 1 minus 1, well, that's 0. So we've got 40 bags left over. Okay, 16 helpers. So what we can say is, well, if we've got our 40 bags, I'll do it here. What about if we give 1 bag to each of the 16 helpers? How many are we going to have left? Well, 0 minus 6, we can't take 6 away from nothing. So again, we'll reduce that by 1 and make that 10 minus 6. So 10, count back 6, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So 4 here. And 3 minus 1, that leaves us with 24. Okay, so we've used 10 bags each here. We've had 16 here, so we've got 1 given out. We've got 24 left. Or we can take off another bag each, so take off another 16 from the 24. We can't take 6 away from 4, so reduce that to 1, make that 14 minus 6. So again, if you think of 14 and count back 6, we'll have 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So 8 here, and 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay, well, we've got 8 bags left, 16 helpers, so we can't give any more out. So we had 10 we allocated here for the 160, another one here to make it 11, another one here to make it 12. So we've had 12 bags for each helper, and then we had 8 left at the end. Okay, so there's different ways that you can do this, but I think this is probably a nicest way of doing it. So you think of sometimes tables or numbers that you can get to quickly, and then try and take off the remaining bits until you're left with something that's smaller than 16, and that must be our remainder. Question 4. Kemal works out how much money he made at the car boot sale. Calculate the difference between 973 and 575 pounds. So you could do 973 minus 575, and you could do it as a column. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to count up instead. So I'm going to think, well, I'm going to add instead of taking away. So start from this number. How much do I need to add on to it to get up to 973? So let's try and make our units a 0. So what do we need to add on to this to make this a 0? Well, if we add on an extra 5, because that will take us 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if we add 5 on here, that's going to make that a 0. 5 and 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 7 plus 1 is 8, and we've still got 5 there. Okay, so we can add on 5 to take it up to 580. We want to get all the way up to 973. So what about if we go up to the next 100? Well, from 80, we'd go 90, 100. So we can add on 2 10s. It's the same as adding on 20. 0 plus 0 is 0. 8 plus 2 is 9, 10. 5 plus 1 is 6. So we've added on 5. We've added on 20. We've got to 600 so far. We want to get up to 973. Well, how many hundreds are we going to need to get from 6 to 9? or 7, 8, 9. So we're going to need to add on 3 hundreds. Well, to get from 0 to 7, we need 7 tens. And to get from 0 to 3, we need 3 units. So we know that if we add this together, 0 plus 3 is 3, 0 plus 7 is 7, and 6 plus 3, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So we've added 5 and 20 and 373. So we can think of that. Let's show those separately. 5, 20, 373. And doing it this way, the numbers are nice and easy to add together because we haven't got any carrying over. So 5 plus 0 is 5, plus 3, 6, 7, 8. 2 plus 7, well, let's start from the bigger number, 7. Add 2 more, that's 8, 9, and 3. So we get an answer of 398. That's what we need to add on to 575 to get to 973. So if you are more comfortable doing the column method for subtraction, you can certainly do it that way, which is fine. This is just trying to show you an alternative method. Okay. And now for the calculator section. Question 1. Kemar plans music events. He makes a website about the events. The cost of the website is £10.90 each month. What is the total cost for 24 months? Use correct money format. So it costs £10.90 for 24 months. So we're going to multiply these two together. And we can use our calculator. So we can just put £10.90. Now you don't need to put the 0 in at the end for the calculator. It's up to you if you want to, but it's not going to cause any problems if we don't. We want 24 of those. And that gives us 261.6. It's money, so we need to put the pound sign in. And also because it's money, we're going to need to have 2 decimal places because you don't get £261.6. It's going to be 60 pence. Yeah. Now, 2A. Round £10.90 to the nearest pound. Okay, so it's good to think of this as, well, which pounds are either side of it? Well, £10.90, I'm going to draw a line here. Well, at the bottom end, we'd have £10 down here, and the next pound up would be £11. So this is between £10 and £11. Now, a good way to do this is to think, well, what would halfway be? Well, half of a pound is 50p. So halfway would be £10.50. £10.90, is that going to be this side of £10.50 or this side? Well, it's more than £10.50, so it's going to be somewhere in here, which means we're going to round up to £11. And then for part B, they've asked us to use the rounded number to check your answer to question 1. Right, let's look back at question 1. So we had £10.90 times 24. Okay, so let's just remind us of £10.90 times 24. But they want us to use the rounded number, so they want us to use 11 times 24. To do a quick check. But we can still use our calculator. So 11 times 24, and that gives us £264, which is not too far away, so we can say it's approximately equal to £261.60 that we worked out in part 1. Question 3. Kemar has a total of 450 tickets for a music event. He keeps 90 of the tickets to sell at the gate. Kemar says 1/3 of the tickets are to sell at the gate. Is Kemar correct? Right, so He's saying a third of the tickets are to sell at the gate. Well, if we've got 450 in total, if we want a third of them, we're going to divide by 3. And again, we can use our calculator. So 450 divided by 3. Well, that means a third is 150. Well, 150 is not equal to 90, so is Kemal correct? No, he's not. And we can tick that one down there. Let's move this up so we can see the whole question if we can. Yep. Okay. Kemal needs to hire a tent for serving food. We've got A, B, C, D, E, F, so 6 different tents, different lengths. These are the number of people they take, and these are the costs. Kemal needs a tent that's less than 10 metres in length. I'm going to underline that. Less than 10 metres in length. He needs a tent for 120 people. 120 people. He wants to spend as little as possible. Which tent will Kemal hire? Right, so he wants it less than 10 metres. So it could be 6, could be 9, can't be 12. So we can cross this one out, because that's not less than 10. Could be 6, could be 9. Again, can't be 12. So we can rule that one out straight away. And he needs a tent for 120 people. Well, this one's only 60 people, so that's not enough. So we can rule out A. This is only for 115 people. That's not enough, we need 120. So it's going to be this tent or this tent. They both take more than 120 people. And he wants to spend as little as possible. Well, which is smaller? Well, this is in the 500s, this is in the 600s. So we're going to go with this one. So which tent will Kemal hire? Well, it's going to be tent D, and we can put the cost £506. Question 5. Kemal puts a video on his website. The graph shows the number of people who watch the video. Okay, number of people who watch the video over 5 days. We've got the number of people up here in our hundreds. Let's see the bottom of the graph. And we've got the 5 different days. Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the question is down here. Kemal says that more than 900 people in total watched the video on days 2 and 3. So these are the 2 days we're talking about. Is Kemal correct? Okay, well, let's find out. Let's see how many people we've got for day 2 and 3. Well, day 2, we go up until we meet the line, which is here. And then we're going to want to read off to this bit. Now, if you look, we've got 600 to 700. So the difference here is 100. From 600 to 700. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections here. So if we do 100 divided by 5, it's going to tell us what each of these is worth. Oh, I nearly gave the game away. Let's do it with the calculator. So 100 divided by 5 gives us 20. Okay, so that means that this would be 620, and one up would be 640. Okay. So for day 2, actually I'm going to write it on there so you can see it nice and clear, 640. We also need to know how many people watched the video on day 3. So day 3 we go up to here and then read across. And remember we said that each of these was worth 20. So you can count up in 20s from 200. Or we can say, well, this is 200 less than 300. So we can say 300 minus 20 means that this value here must be 280. Okay. So Kemal says that more than 900 people in total watched the video. Well, remember we had 640 plus 280. So if we add those two together, we get 920. And that is more than 900. So we can say, yes, he is correct. And we can tick down here. Question 6. Helpers at the music event will have name badges. Kemar chooses a shape for the badges. Which shape has the fewest right angles? We've actually got 4 shapes here. Can we fit them all on? Just about, I think. Well, a right angle, if you remember, that's where a vertical line meets a horizontal line. So we get something like that. So we've got a right angle here. Another right angle here. So we've got 2 on this shape. What about on this shape? Well, we've got one here, another one here. Any other right angles? No, these are bigger than right angles, so we've got 2 here as well. What about down here? Well, we've got 1 here, got another right angle here, another right angle here, another one here. Well, this one's more than 2. We want the fewest, so it's definitely not this one. And what about this shape here? Well, we've got 1 right angle here, and that's it. In fact, what you can do, if you've got your ruler handy, is you can use the corner of your ruler to see where your right angles are. Okay, if it fits in perfectly, you've got a right angle. Well, you can see it doesn't fit in that corner. Can't squeeze it in there. And it doesn't fit in this corner. So this shape has got 1 right angle. So it must be that one. Question 7. Kemar makes fruit biscuits to sell at the music event. He weighs fruit. And we've got a ruler, a measuring scales here. Got the arrow pointing at this marking. Kemar needs a total of 0.5 kilograms of fruit. He says he needs 425 grams more fruit. Is Kemar correct? Show why you think this. Right, well, let's work out how much it's pointing to at the moment. Well, this is 100 and this is 200. So this difference between the two of them, you can take 100 away from 200, but hopefully you'll see that that difference is 100. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sections in there. So if we do 100 divided by 4, that'll tell us what each of these is worth. So 100 divided by 4, so we've got 25. So this one, so if each of these is worth 25, 25, 25, 25, well, if we're here, it must be 125. Okay. Now, he needs a total of 0.5 kilograms of fruit. Well, we know that there's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. So 0.5, well, we just need to do 0.5 times 1,000, or half of 1,000. So we've got 500 grams. So he needs 500 grams. He's already got 125. So if we take that away, it'll tell us how much more he needs. 500 minus 125 gives us 375 grams. He says he needs 425 grams more fruit. Well, no, 375 grams is not equal to 425 grams. So is Kemar correct? No. And again, we make sure that we tick down here. Question 8. Kemar asks helpers to do jobs at different times. So for Amir needs to do the food at 6 p.m, parking at 10 p.m, bins at 2 p.m. Sam's got different times, but the same jobs. And Corey's got the same jobs, but again, different times. Kemal wants to show this information in a table. Organise this information in a table. Right, we'll do this lower down, but I'm going to do it here so we can see the information as well. So, what information needs to go in the table? Well, we need to have their name. We need to have when they do each of the different jobs. So what we can do, if we do a... let's do our table here. And the first column we're going to have is name. So we're going to have Amir, Sam and Corey. And it's all the times we want. So we can have, we've got 3 different jobs. So we can have 1, 2, 3 columns. So we're going to have food, parking and bins. So Amir does the food at 6 p.m, does the parking at 10 p.m, and the bins at 2 p.m. For Sam, they do the food at 2 p.m, parking at 6 p.m, and the bins at 10 p.m. And then for Corey, we got the food at 10 p.m, parking at 2 p.m, and the bins at 6 p.m. So we've got a nice handy table here. Straight away we can see who's doing what task at what time. Question 9. Kemal has speakers for the music event. He can put the speakers at different heights. 0.9 metres, 1.05 metres, 1.2 metres. The heights follow a pattern. Kemal puts a speaker at the next height up from 1.2 metres. At what height does Kemal put the speaker? Well, the pattern, usually we're looking at numbers increasing or decreasing by the same amount. So we want to know how much are these going up by. We can see they're going up. So what we can do is if we take the bigger number, 1.05, and subtract the smaller number, 0.9. So this one is increasing by 0.15. So let's do the same here. We take the 1.2, the bigger number, and we subtract the smaller number, 1.05. And again, we get 0.15. So if this pattern's repeating, the next one is going to go up by another 0.15. So 1.2 plus 0.15 gives us 1.35 metres. And we can put that down here. Question 10. Let's move it up so we can see all our... Oh no, we can't fit them all in. We'll have to move it up afterwards. Kemal turns a handle to fix the height of the speakers. Which is the correct description of the fraction that Kemal turns the handle? Well, it's starting here. It's going all the way round. So to me, that looks like... Well, not a quarter turn. That would just be this far. A half turn would be round to here. 3/4 turn, that would be 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. This is all the way, so it's 1 full turn. Okay, question 11. Kemal hires a rubbish bin from a company. He hires the tallest bin the company has. Which bin does he hire? Right, well, you could sort these. In fact, I'm going to do that, but what I'm going to do, we've got 6 on here. We want the tallest. Now, straight away, I can see some of them start with a 1 some start with a 0. So the 1s are clearly going to be bigger than a 0, so it's not going to be that one, and it's not going to be that one if it's the tallest. But what we have got is we've got 1.3, 1.06, 1.18, and 1.2. And if we want to compare these, we can fill in the ends with zeros, because these are decimal places, so it's not changing the value of the number. And because they're all 1 point, we can cover those up and just say, well, which is the biggest number? 30, 6, 18, or 20? Well, it's clearly this one. So that must be the tallest pin. Question 12. Kimar sells 289 adult tickets for the music event. He also sells 136 child tickets. What is the total number of tickets he sells? Well, if we want the total, that's telling us we need to add. So we need 289, add or plus 136. Which gives us 425 tickets. Question 13. Kemar has a site map for the music event. Yeah, so we can see on here we've got the stage, we've got the playground, we've got these boxes. We'll find out what these are in a minute. We've got a tent, another couple of boxes. Car parks over this way, and we're told, if we move it up, each of these boxes is 10 metres. Right. They also tell us the key. So this is an accessible toilet, and this is a standard toilet up here. A customer at point X wants to find the nearest accessible toilet. Which toilet will the customer choose? Right, so there are X here, and they want an accessible toilet. So if you remember, those were these ones. So they either want A, D, or F. Well, nice way to do this, you could count the squares, or you could just get your ruler. If we start from X, let's go this way first of all. From X to this one, I make it just over 4 centimetres. What's that? 4.1 centimetre on here. Over to A. So this time we'll start from A and measure over to the X. So make sure we're measuring from where it's 0, not from the end of the ruler, but from 0. This is the edge of the toilet. Over to X. Well, that looks like 5.12 centimetres. So 5.2 centimetres. And if we go in the other direction from X down to here, well, that's nearly 6. 6 would be here. It's 1 before. So that looks like 5.9 centimetres. So it must be D. You can put that there. Now, even though they've given us the key, they haven't asked us to work out the exact distance, which is why it's fine to just measure in centimetres on here, because it's going to be the same units for all 3 of them. Okay, question 14. The music event ends at 11:15 in the evening. Right, in the evening, I'll underline that. Which clock shows this time? Okay, so we've got 11:15 a.m, 11:15 p.m, 11:45 a.m, or 11:45 p.m. Well, I know a.m. is the morning, so it can't be either of those. And it's 11:15, so it's going to be 11. A quarter of an hour is 15 minutes. So if it's past, it's going to be 11:15. This one would be 11:45, and it would be 11:45. So that's the one we want. Question 15. Kemar had 240 t-shirts to sell at the music event. And we've got a graph here showing items sold at music event. There were wristbands, hats, t-shirts and cushions. And this tells us how many of each they sold. How many t-shirts are left over after the music event? Well, let's work out how many were sold first of all. So these are the t-shirts, that's what we're interested in. If we go from the top of the bar and read across, this is what we're interested in. Now, we've got a difference of 100 here. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. So if we do 100 divided by 5, we did something similar earlier. We get that each of those must be worth 20. Okay, so this is 20, 20, and another 20. So in other words, well, we can just do 20 plus 20 plus 20. They must have sold 60 t-shirts. Okay, so 60 t-shirts sold. But they said how many t-shirts are left over? Well, if you're starting with 240 and you sell 60, we just need to take that off. And we get 180 t-shirts. Okay, question 16. Kemar had 9 litres of petrol in a generator before the event. The diagram shows the amount of petrol left after the event. How much petrol did Kemar use to the nearest division? Now, when they say division, what they mean are these different lines. So in other words, which of these lines is this level closest to? And you might see it's slightly closer to this one. So this is the one we're interested in. Okay, now we want to know what that is. Well, if this is 5 litres, that's 10 litres, that's 0. So maybe if we just look at these longer lines, maybe if we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that looks good. So 1. So this must be 2 litres. Okay. Well, that's how much is left. They want to know how much petrol did Kemar use. And he started with 9 litres. So if he started with 9 and he's got 2 left, then the difference must be how many he used. Well, 9 minus 2, we can do this in our heads. Just count back. 8, 7. So 7 litres. In fact, we can write that down here. And question 17. Kemar counts the people who vote for photos on the website. He sorts the number of people in order. Which is the second greatest number? When they say greatest, what they mean is the biggest number. Okay? Doesn't mean greatest in terms of best, just biggest. Right, so these are the numbers of people who voted for each photo. And we want the second biggest one. So 280, 802, 820, 208, 282, 882. So which are the biggest ones? Well, some are starting in the 200s and some are in the 800s. Well, we want the second biggest. So it's not going to be any in the 200s. Which is the biggest one? 802, 820. Well, that's bigger than 802, and 882, so 82 is bigger than 20, so this is the biggest, and then this one is smaller than 882, but bigger than 802, so that must be the second biggest. And finally, question 18. The table shows when tickets for a different event were bought. So 40 tickets were bought on the same day. 160 tickets were bought up to 1 week before. So up to means less than or equal to 1 week. So it could be 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. And 100 tickets were bought more than 1 week before. ChemR needs a bar chart to show this information. Complete the bar chart using a suitable scale. Well, they've already written in our categories, same day, up to 1 week before, and more than 1 week before. We've got a number of tickets. We need to write our numbers up the side, our scale. Well, look at the biggest number we've got. We've got 160. So we're going to make sure that this goes at least as high as 160. So, for example, we're not going to do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, because 160 would be way off the top. But you'll notice that in lots of the graphs we've done so far, we've been counting in 20s on our graphs. So 0, 20, 40, and you can use a calculator if you want to help you with this. 60, 80, 100. So if we keep going, we'd have 120, 140, 160, and that's fine. We need to get up to 160. We don't need to go beyond that. Okay, so we can now start to draw our bars. There were 40 tickets were bought on the same day. So here's same day, here's 40. So I'm going to draw a bar. Doesn't matter exactly how big the bar is, but try to make them about the same size, or the same width, I should say. Up to 1 week before, this was our 160 tickets. So we're going to want to go all the way up to 160. So draw the top of our bar there. They're reasonably similar. And finally, more than 1 week before, we had 100 tickets. So we want to go up to 100, which is here. There we go. And that's a bar chart. And that's the end of the paper. So I hope you found it helpful. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, make sure your notifications are turned on so you find out when I upload more videos. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.